All right, so take three. This is not going well, but I feel like I wanted me to make this video, so I'm just going to push through and make it. So, Lord, help me make this video. Amen. All right, so I got this thing in the middle of my quiet time this morning, and it's very simple. I feel like we already talked about this basically, and we sort of talk around the main issue. But it's really, really good. So I'm going to tell you it. And I don't have the energy to like judge it up and make it and give it an intro and all that. Just understand that it's really, really good if you can't realize that it's good. Okay. So people are always like, well, I'm a good person or whatever when Christians say that you need to believe, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm a good person. And if that's not enough, then forget it. Like, I don't know, I heard a TikTok where somebody was basically saying that, like, I'm just going to take my chances. And, if God is even real and, if he can't accept me being a good person, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then we usually come back with, we're not, you're not a good person. You're, no one is good except God. We come up with some scripture about it. And, that's, pretty good too. But, most people just they don't like the system. It's like, I remember another person who was an atheist or who said that the person that died was an atheist, but they were like the best person that they knew in life. And, if you're telling me that that person is in hell, then, I can't accept this, I can't accept your God, blah, blah, blah. And it really like, it throws you for a loop emotionally at first because, all of that sounds unreasonable. But another thing that kind of along the same lines that I was thinking about is that, um, my brain, I was kind of going over this and I was like, the things that God tells us to do, on earth, it's like those are things that God is telling us to do because, um, the sin nature is here. And so we have to do things to combat the sinful nature. And so, um, the things that he tells us to do here, it's not going to be like that in heaven. Um, it's not a defense mechanism, but it's the things that like humility and all these things that it's to preserve you so that you can make it to heaven. Um, and then I was like, wait, no, we do those things in heaven. We just do them naturally. So yeah, we have to do them here, and it's hard to do them here because it's going against our nature, which is compromised by sin. But there, we will still be doing those things there, but it will be who we are, and it'll be easy. So everything that God asks us to do, God himself does, and everybody in heaven does. He's not asking us to do something over and above. Like, I was trying to think of like why it seems like what God is telling us to do is over and above, and why he would ask us to do these things. And I was thinking like, oh, well, it's because we have to fight against the sin, but we won't have to do that once we die and go to heaven. But it's like, no, we will be doing those things. It just will be how things are there. So people are loving each other with, and I don't know if there's going to be any, there's not going to be any sin, but I'm sure love still covers a multitude of something. I'm sure people are still going to be obnoxious there, or there's going to be people there that are not your type of person. Like, I don't think that necessarily goes away. That's not sin. That's just God making all these types of people, and you're super, you're an introvert, and this person's like crazy, and you're like having to limit your time with that person. Like, I think there's still probably going to be an aspect of that there, because inherently there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. Um, and, it's funny, it's comedy, but like, so we're still going to be, you're going to be serving, you're going to be, these things that are hard for us to do here, that are sketchy for us to do here, that seem like a flim flam here, is not at all like that there. So when you say that you're a good person, oh, and the other half of this too is, I was thinking about faith and how faith is really like the only thing that you can do, you can show God, which I think I have talked about before because it is like one of my main axioms, I guess. But it's the only thing that you can do. You can't, your good works, you being a good person, so what? God is a good person. He's the best person. He's not impressed. You can't impress God with your good works, especially with you being a sinful creature that needs saving. Like you are slated for destruction. Like you come into this world not perfect, and we go, okay, so I'm not perfect because we live in not perfect land. But to God's perspective, to heaven's perspective, you can't come anywhere near there. You're not fit to enter. So you being a good person here is not doing much. You being, you loving and all these things, like as far as this being like your ticket in, your entrance, it's like, yeah, it does other stuff. You can get rewards for that stuff. But as far as like you're getting your ticket in to be in there, no, it's not going to get you in there. But I was thinking about faith being the only thing that we can do that can be of any value to God, because this is something, your faith, you being a person with free will, your faith is something that God literally cannot get. He cannot manufacture himself. Every single person has the ability to give God their faith. Even if you give God your love, that's not even really like, yes, do that. And that is like the key to it all. But even God is sort of giving you that love, like that you have for him. Like it's like, although, yes, that is something too, like you choosing to love God and to be sort of, I guess, devoted to God is something that God can't do for himself fundamentally. But the faith is something that, this is not something that you have to be smart or rich, or you can be a child, you can be an old man, you can be whatever race, gender, and you can at any point in your life, you can have faith in God. And this is something that is unique, just logically speaking, by default, that God cannot, especially when you are in a place like this where you are choosing. The angels in heaven cannot choose. They can only choose to walk away from God. They cannot be going down a path and like have this fork of like, do you choose? It's like they're in the presence of God. They're there. So we're the only ones that are presented with both choices and can choose God. And so, and the faith is like sort of the means by which we make that choice. And so that's why faith is always going to be, the nature of faith is always going to be what it is. People say sort of blind faith, and it's not really blind. I know there is a concept of blind faith, but I think really they're just doubling down on it, on the concept, by calling it blind. Like what they mean is like, because it's like a faith. You say you take a leap of faith, meaning you don't know what's going to happen to you. So when it's a leap, it's already a leap, and it's blind too. It's like that's really, they're just trying to convey the helplessness that you feel reaching out for something that you don't know if it's even there or not. And the thing about it is like God's not going to just, you're not going to be like having a confirmation for 2 years of your life. whether God is real or not, you're going to know immediately. You should know immediately. And, if you don't, then I don't know, it didn't take, something is wrong. You shouldn't be going huge. Now you can go down a trail and then look at that trail retrospectively and go, none of that was real. That's not the same thing as getting an immediate, you taking that leap and then instantly getting a response back from God, which is how it should be. That's what you should be expecting. So I think people are also fearful that they're just going to go down this road for a long time before they realize like all of it's trash. But uh, when you look at something like relationships, which is literally the exact same thing, but complete material thing in front of you, and it's still the same stakes, you can't, you don't need to dismiss God for being this extra special case. It's literally the same thing. Um, but anyway, so faith is this thing that we can give God. So it's no wonder that that is the method by which God is using to get people to become saved. Okay, opposite of, should be the opposite of lost. You know, so this seems to be. It's not that getting into heaven is extremely incredibly hard. It's just that getting into heaven requires something that heaven doesn't have already. So, and the highest thing of value that you have is your faith. Your good works are not anything. Your money, obviously, I mean, they're about on par. It's like bribing God with you 6 figures is not going to do the thing. You trying to sacrifice someone else for your entry, he doesn't accept that either. Again, another plain logical thing, like he made all of y'all, all of you belong to him. Like you can't bribe him with something that someone else's blood. Like you can't do that. That's, now the devil will take that. But God's not going to take that. So when you say, I'm a good person, or you say, my uncle was the best person I know, and he died, and if you're saying he's not in heaven, then heaven is a trash place and I don't want to be there. So you being a good person, it's like, that's the reason why you think that that's super valuable, is because we live in a world of trash. So when you say, oh, my husband, my, gay boyfriend, my aunt, she was a hooker, but she would give you the shirt off of her back, or whatever anecdote you want to tell me about the best person. Everyone loved him. They did this for people. They did more for this person than the other person. And they were an example of a real, whatever, but the church didn't accept him. Blah, blah, blah. Sob story. And I don't mean to make light of it, but still, what you're doing, what we're not noticing about these stories, because we get sucked into it too, because we also live on Trash Planet and we understand how valuable it is to have somebody like that in your life. And we go, man, that does seem kind of harsh when you say that. But the thing is, you're proving the point that this is Trash Planet by telling us about the good person that was kind to everybody and gave, even though that they had need, but they gave to others. Okay. You're describing literally every person in heaven. You're describing every person in heaven. It's not valuable there because it's heaven. You're describing the citizenry, the people. Just like the joke about the guy who wanted to bring one thing to heaven and he begged God, please let me bring one thing to heaven. It's the most valuable thing I have, whatever. And God's like, fine. The joke is going to go on much longer so you can get the point. But then he gets this big suitcase and he opens it and it's like, ton of gold bars, and the angels go, pavement? It's not valuable there. No one cares about your good person. Like, and it's not that you're a dime a dozen, but you're just not adding to the landscape. Everyone there is that by virtue, like God makes you that. But you have to have faith. That's the thing that he wants, that he doesn't have, that he can't get. There's no heaven in the amount of heaven that can get that. That is the unique, valuable thing that he can go, oh my gosh, you're giving me this? Wow, take this as a token of your giving. Now the exchange can take place. Now an actual real exchange can take place. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. All that other stuff, you're not saying anything. So, yes, on Trash Planet, that person is worth whatever. But guess what? That on Trash Planet, that person died alone in an alley because Trash Planet doesn't value that person as much as valuable as that person ought to be. The value, God has the same value system. Like Trash Planet doesn't. We can see that person is valuable. Well, and we only acknowledge that that person is valuable when God to make a thing against God, because we don't value them people out of here either. Because we have Trash Planet DNA too. So we don't value that person when they're here. But then we want to put God's values up in his face when somebody says, oh, well, aren't you about goodness and this and that and this and that? Like you're only using it as leverage to try and pry your way into heaven. He told you what you need to do. But you and your Trash Planet gaslighting and your Trash Planet, I'm going to bogart my way in. I'm going to manipulate my way in. I'm going to Black Lives Matter, go fund me my way into heaven and get everybody around me to, badmouth God and go, ooh, he's, ugh, and just try to get him like he's a corporation, like he's just going to change his tune because we all decide that he's garbage until he makes, changes the whatever. We're going to use the court of public opinion to judge him, and that's going to make it also. It's like, it's just, and you can see, like, it's just like, what are you doing? Are you trying to get God to do like, you really, it's like people are really going through the motions, like they're trying to get him to, like they're going to try to do him like they did Trump and like get some stuff to change. Like it's like, no, that's God. You're not going to change his thing. You can't change his thing through sheer bitchiness, for lack of a better term right now. Like you can't, it doesn't work like that up there. It only just now started working like that down here, and it's terrible for most of us. So no, you can't one star review him into not being in power anymore. Like this is what it is. And yeah, I get with the program, but it's more like, I feel like if you just understood what's going on here, you could just like easily adjust. Like, just understand like what you're trying to do isn't working. You need to find the thing that actually does work. I'm breaking it down for you. It's very logical, whatever. Like, stop bringing up the fact that you're a good person. Like, let's not even argue. Let's not even go down the list, and let's check and see if you really are. Let's just take for granted that you are. It still don't matter, because good person is the bare minimum there. And you're not giving God anything, like, by being that. You're giving somebody down here something by being that, but you get tired of that. Well, what's the point of being good if you're not going to get, and you get tired of doing that anyways. So what are you trying to like use it now to bolster your whatever? The only thing you can give him is your faith. And I would advise you to do that. And, you can't just use, you can't just say words. It's not just some Harry Potter spell that you can say. You have to genuinely get there. But I would do my best to try to get there as fast as you can. because that's the only thing that you have that's of any value to God is your belief. Oh, so you're saying if I don't believe the same thing that you believe, that I'm just not. And then they try to just like sweep it under like it's just this petty thing. Like, oh, so it's just because I don't do this petty thing, now I got to go to. It's like you can. It's like manipulating. I mean, it's manipulative. Like it just reminds me. I just thought of this stupid thing. So yesterday, my husband was we sort of share an Amazon account or whatever. And so he doesn't really do that much shopping on it, but occasionally he tries, whatever. So he's like texting me. He's like, what's your password? Most of us have had Amazon accounts for, over a decade or whatever. I'm not really keen on just, whatever, but it's like, okay, husband, here's my password. So then he gets the password. And then he's like, they're going to email you a code. Send me the code. So then I send him the code. He's like, oh, I didn't get the code in time. Send it to me again. I'm like, bro, I'm really just about to just tell you no. Like, how can you desperately want to get into my account? Like, you don't even, like, if they shut us both out, because, Amazon will just randomly, I don't know if you know the history, but they're like, somebody's doing too much, let's just shut the whole thing down. It's like, you're about to, whatever you absolutely need to buy this exact minute, you don't even care enough to stay by the phone to get the stuff that you need to get in there. You're about to just ruin the whole thing for both of us. Like, I can't. And that's what people are doing. They're just, because I'm just thinking about, like, if I told him no, he would have just, like, or if I'd have been like, I'm not helping you do this anymore, he would have just ranted and raved and just been all out of shape and just, whatever. Something about me not being helpful or being lazy or whatever. And it's just like, I can't with these people. Like, just let me have, what do you need it for? I just need it. Okay, here. Give it to me again. I was out doing something else that was, whatever, even though I just asked you and I desperately, desperately need it. Like, it's just, that's the way people act. It's like, well, you can't just let me in heaven. I gotta just, it's literally like the lowest. It's like, not only is it the one thing that's valuable to God, it's like the lowest energy, low cost, it doesn't cost anything, like anything that you value. And then, if you get on the other side of it, yeah, it is going to cost you stuff. It's going to cost you stuff that you shouldn't be valuing anymore at that point. So it really is just like, Jesus already died. All you got to do is just sign. And then you get access to all of God's stuff. And you won't, and then people will be like, no, never mind that. I'm just going to keep doing this good person thing. And if he don't accept that at the end, well, then he's not something about somebody I want to spend my time with anyway. Like, that is crazy, ludicrous, cuckoo. But, it's a good thing because a lot of people out here don't think that they're lunatics. They don't know that. They don't think that about themselves. This process exposes it because, and it's like it just takes care of itself. That's why we're just out here giving the message out. We don't need to really do much more than that. Like, I wouldn't really even, I don't know, that's more Trash Planet sensibilities. But like, why pour into somebody? They won't even take, if they won't take the information, that's already weeding. The information itself is weeding. If they're not receptive to it, and you're just like, well, we just need to pour into them and love on them, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, I'm sure they'll accept that love with open arms and all of that stuff. And whatever. If God tells you to do that, then that's fine. But I think, uh, I don't know. It's not even my business because I just mind my business and I'm not out here doing ministry like that. But it's like, the prodigal son was like, dude, let me just go back to my father's house and be a slave there. He wasn't expecting to get reinstated. He was like, let me get my speech ready so that I can at least, at least I know that I can do that. I know that, I will be taken care of there and I could just be a slave. It's better than what I'm doing out here, you know. But people really just like expect to come back to the house and are like, you're just not going to let me in? What kind of parent are you? Like, not even, not do, and you can tell they're not even there for back for good. They got one bag, they're planning to go back out later. Like they don't, it's not even the same analogy anymore. So God is not that parable wasn't made up for those type of people. There is no parable for those type of people. That's like out of the realm of, like, I don't know, this thing has gone on so long, people are just out of their minds. So, yeah. Stop saying you're a good person like that means something to God. God can make good people. It's like John the Baptist with the Pharisees. It's like God can make good people at the ground and just raise them up. Like he can make good people right now. That's not that's not the shortage. That's not what's going to make you valuable. What's going to make him keep you. After that's not what he died to save. He died to save people made in his image that chose him out of many choices. So, yeah, if you're not going to do that, you're just like, well, I'm not interested at all, but maybe I can earn some points to sort of be able to chill out at your house, and just hopefully you just let me inside your house. It's like, what? Why would I let you inside my house? Well, because you're a decent guy. Aren't you supposed to be like the best dude around? Like, you can't let me chill at your house? Are we friends? No. Do you want to be friends? Not really. I mean, I think you're just a judgmental person, but aren't you supposed to be nice or whatever? Like, I'm still going to use these other traits against you so I can get what I want, which is entry into your house. Like, are people thinking this through? No, they're not. No, they're not. But it's like they don't need to think it through. It is them. Like, that's when people answer with that stuff. Like, what thinking needs to happen? It's coming right out. It's coming right out for everybody to hear. So, it's not even the only thing that you need to think through is, wait, am I being insane? That's the part that needs to be thought through. Because that's like the default is be insane. And that's what most people are doing. So, anyway, that was really long for just one little point. Obviously, I'm not going to get to this other stuff. So, good. I made my video. Thank you, Jesus, for helping me. And I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.